Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. Today, I'm your host, Alan, and we are glad you've chosen to join us on this cool December morning. Whether this is your first time or if you keep coming back, we honor your presence in our wonderful community. Today's talk title is Affirmations versus Fear Narrative. And it's all about the stories that we tell ourselves. So, I brought a quote to go on with today's theme. What is a fear of living? It's being preeminently afraid of dying. It is not doing what you came here to do, out of timidity and spinelessness. The antidote is to take full responsibility for yourself, for the time you take up and the space you occupy. If you don't know what you're here to do, then just do some good. And this is a quote by Maya Angelou. So I invite you to just let those words sink in as we listen to the talk today and the announcements. So also, I encourage you to check out our website, cslcharlotte.org. Put in a prayer request and subscribe. It's a great way to find out more about us. And I encourage you to check out our social media. Check out our Facebook page as well. Where we're always posting something new, some announcements as well. So I invite you to just get to settle in with a nice cup of hot chocolate. Sit, relax in your snuggie as I pass the mic over to our fabulous, radiant Reverend Rosedale Jones.
Thank you, Alan, my right-hand man. So, with that being said, have a fabulous holiday season before I even get started. Today, we are coming to you from Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, the Mind Body Spirit Center. Today, we're talking about affirmations versus the fear narrative. Now, let's set the tone first. And what we do is we set it with an affirmative prayer. So today, Maureen Thurston, aka Mo, our spiritual practitioner, is going to open us up in affirmative prayer. So give a warm welcome to Maureen, aka Mo, with her affirmative prayer.
Good morning, everyone. I am filled with gratitude on this Sunday morning, knowing that I get to spend this amazing time with you. So as we go into this service today, I know that the message that Reverend Rosedale has for us touches each and every one of us in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls. And I know that this service flows smoothly and easily without any hiccups at all, that we all hear and get from her words of wisdom that which is ours to hear and that which will feed our soul throughout the rest of the week. So as I release this prayer, knowing that everything flows smoothly, easily, and in divine right timing, I invite you to lock that in with me by simply saying and affirming, and so it is.
And so it is. Ashe. Good. Thank you, Mo. So the next on our platform is our reader, Horace the Bush. He is our operations coordinator. After his reading, we'll find clarity in affirmations versus the fear narrative. But after listening to his reading, listen to the song One Power, because you're going to understand that that's the best place that affirmations are spoken to and through. So when you know you are that one power, you get to see the need for affirmatives versus affirmations versus the fear narrative. So, Horace, go ahead and make it do what it do.
Thank you, Reverend Rosedale. And so, good morning, everyone. I am honored to share with you our reading for this morning. And the title of our reading is Navigating the Ego, Awakening into Possibility by our own Reverend Rosedale Jones. So let us take a deep breath as we breathe into this narrative here. You are a human being. Guess what? That's what you are. You are a human being. These two simple words describe more than just your species. They point to the twofold nature of you. Human is your form, the body, the mind, the personality, the conditioning you inherited and embodied. Being is your essence, the timeless, formless, unconditioned consciousness that is the truth of you. These are not two separate selves. Form and essence dance as one. Did you hear that? Form and essence dance as one. Being is the pure consciousness that animates you. It reflects the universal source. It's the same as a ray of sunlight that can never be separate from the sun. Likewise, you can never be separate from the source that breathes you. This presence and intelligence is the very force guiding the evolution of your life. Creation is not an event of the distant past. Okay, did you hear that? Creation is not an event of the distant past. You are a creation still unfolding. You are a work in progress, which is an evolving expression of consciousness becoming more aware of itself. The highest purpose of every human being is to come into alignment with that universal purpose. Your purpose is to awaken to the being that is living as you. So, what does all of that mean? What does it mean to awaken? It begins the moment you realize that the voice in your head is not who you are. Did you hear that? It means that you realize the voice in your head is not who you are. Who you are is you are the human that hears the voice. It's based off your old beliefs, conditioning from the past. That conditioning is your life form. So navigating your ego will help you realize that you are in control of the voice inside your head. Therefore, you know the difference between you, the human, your form, and you, the being, your essence. When you become aware of the source behind every thought, your sense of self shifts from the old stories of your mind to new stories of your oneness with spirit. Then it's your job to relearn your identity as an unconditioned consciousness. Did you hear that? What your job is now is to relearn your identity as an unconditioned consciousness. However, this relearning does not happen in comfort and ease. There may be a few challenges. Challenges are the lifeblood of evolution. Every form of life, plant, animal, human, grows because of what it encounters. Your comfort zone is rarely where your oneness with spirit calls you to change, even though the ego may beg you to take the easy road. The ego will always direct your attention outward toward people, places, things, or circumstances. It's always promising fulfillment that never lasts. You'll be disappointed again and again if you look outside of what can only be found within you. So instead of resisting the world, allow the world to make you conscious. Let every challenge open you. Let every discomfort stretch you. Let every moment become the invitation to return to your being by breathing and meditating on your oneness with spirit. This is the limitless field of possibility, also known as the quantum field. It connects you to your true identity. This is another way for you to move beyond the ego. This is how you change your life. This is how you step into higher possibilities, always awaiting for you. So I want to leave you with this quote. Every challenge or obstacle that life seems to put in your path is an opportunity for awakening, becoming present, and deepening the voice of your oneness with spirit. Let me say that again. Every challenge or obstacle that life seems to put in your path is an opportunity for awakening, becoming present, and deepening the voice of your oneness with spirit. And that is from our own Reverend Rosedale Jones. And so it is.
Okay, now we're going to start with a short centering. So just relax your eyes and start to look into your lap, or just basically closing them if you choose. Now take a moment to breathe in really deep and expand your muscles, and then exhale really slow. And think about what we're talking about when we say our oneness with spirit. It is that one power. And this one power can't be seen unless you look at another person, unless you walk in nature, unless you are feeling yourself with your oneness with spirit. See, we see it everywhere and every day. That's what we do with that one power. So the one power also seems to be some big mystery to a lot of people. But once we know the truth that has always been inside of us, then there's no other way to worry about it or to even give it any fear narrative, which you will be hearing a little bit more about it. If we're going to step into the greater possibilities of our lives, we need to get clear on how to achieve those possibilities. So today we're going to get a little clarity on affirmations versus the fear narrative. But remember this, you are always a choice. You can hear this until the cows come home. But you're a choice whether you choose to take the step and incorporate spiritual practices, so you can choose between affirmations versus the fear narrative. So wiggle your fingers and your toes and integrate your mind, body, and spirit. But this time, as you float your eyes open, look around your space and see how new you feel to it. Let your space connect you back to this present moment. You're now here talking about affirmations versus the fear narrative. You see, this is the best way to describe transformation too. The transforming of our personalities and experiences is successful using affirmations versus the fear narrative. Because the fear narrative is there 24/7. That's the ego. Mostly. Matter of fact, 100%. The ego is a big part of our personality. The ego can speak to and through us, either from the love side or the fear side. But on the fear side of our personalities, guess what happens? We're critical. We are worried, sometimes even angry about things. The other day, I walked in one of my classes and somebody was talking about politics. And I said, the less attention we pay to that right now than on this class, you're going to miss a beautiful experience. That was something that came from out of nowhere for me, but it's the truth. So here's the thing. It's our responsibility to discern and transform our thoughts or inner comments. The inner comments were born to us from other people. If I were to, for example, if I were to go along with that conversation about, oh, he's going to do whatever, I don't know, these conspiracy theories where they think this man has so much power to do, that man has no power over me. So when I think about that, no one has the power over me but me. But it comes from that one power. It comes because I'm telling myself, you know what? I am with my oneness when I talk to myself, because who else is talking in here? But I'd rather the one that's going to give me things that I like to hear, or that are going to take me to a better place, to a transformation station. It's also our job to know the difference between the voices that are dominating our inner conversations. At any given time, we can hear something like, I am so upset about this. Really? Are we going to let that go into the narrative, the fear narrative, and then explain why you're so upset? Or are we going to say, well, there's a truth to this. Horace was talking about challenges in the reading. The truth is, every challenge and every thought that the ego seems to put in my mind is an opportunity for awakening. You heard him read that. Anything you hear is an opportunity for awakening. All you got to do is go, oh, really? I'm not going to make it? Wait a minute. Wake up. Where are you going with this, Rosedale? It's an opportunity for becoming present, for the deepening of your state of awareness. You have to have a state of awareness. And once you hear the fear narrative, those are my challenging thoughts that I have right now. And many of my challenging thoughts come from personally when I eat and sleep, the stuff that they're talking about in the collective world, like, the media and stuff like that. All of that stuff is forming my beliefs if I choose to get on it. So my beliefs are other people's beliefs. I can't allow that if I want to do my transformation and if I want to evolve and if I want to be happy. Because happiness is an inside job, Nobody can give it to me and nobody can take it from me. So one thing about our oneness with spirit is this. It encourages us to test our beliefs. And then it also encourages us to test our ability to see the differences among our thoughts. That's what awareness is all about. I need to know. For example, all the thoughts that reach my mind or your mind, we file it either with the ego and we just go, okay, I can't do anything about it. Or we put it into the oneness with spirit that says, you can't, what did you just say, Rosedale? What did you just say? Causes me to become aware of what I just said. So when you are aware of your thoughts, you are at an advantage to change the way the ego responds to you and to the world around you. You can train your ego by repeating affirmations instead of allowing that fear narrative from all your friends. I get friends sending me texts about, oh, we all have to march because if we don't get out there, no, you have to march. I don't need to do all that stuff. That's not my thing. I just need to be straight with my oneness with spirit, and I don't need to have your collective consciousness weighing in on my thoughts. Not going to have it. So can you see why affirmations are important here? They're fear-based messages that hijack your mind. And they do that by narrowing your focus. The minute you got a hold of those thoughts, your affirmations can come in and move you in the opposite direction. Because if you still with that focus, that narrow focus, the next thing you know, this is what I'm noticing with people who are still in the world where media means everything and they got to watch the news. And I'm so grateful for somebody that came up to me after one of the things I was talking about and said to me, "You are so right about that news. I had to cut it off." And the minute I did and threw on a show like you were telling us to do, I'm no longer focused on that. Focus, where your focus is, your attention grows. Where your attention grows, that's where you're transforming to. Now, you can be transforming to your worst illness, or you can transform to your best, highest oneness with spirit, right? You can go in the opposite direction. Fear contracts the mind, but affirmations open it. Affirmations are not about pretending. Affirmations are not trying to say everything is positive. No, affirmations is trying to get in there to make you remember some other truth than the truth that you think you already know, which is wrong if you're going by something that you're not happy about. Happiness is an inside job. You can't give it to me, and I certainly can't give it to you. They're about choosing the language to rewire the brain toward the possibility instead of having those panic attacks. See, these affirmations, they are consciousness signals that we send toward us when we make them up, when we write up. I write affirmations all day, or if not, I'm putting them in a recording or something like that, because I gotta change. If I'm not feeling too hot, I gotta think, where is this happening? What you need to do? And then we gotta uncondition that mind. You heard about the conditioning in the reading. It's all about that. There's either you're going to continue to keep that same conditioning or you're going to let go. Because here's the thing. The ego knows which voice is good or not so good. But it just depends on the paradigm you decide to live in. So if you're going to live on the left side, then you got this. If you're going to live on the fear side, you got this too. All right? But you just don't have it in the way that you can say happiness. You can only say the opposite. So why live in that paradigm? Why not be willing to change? So in other words, what I'm trying to say is don't allow your ego to put you in panic mode or fear mode, because with affirmations and the fear narrative versus the fear narrative, you got a better chance. You're going to let that fear narrative run you, or you're going to just sit down and think of another affirmation to say. But you can't just say it in a one and done. I might say, like this morning, I had to keep saying, we are one. What was my thing I had to, yeah. But it got me out of that mood, I was just, I am the power of plenty. I am the power of plenty. So I was thinking of all of these things, but a lot of my ideas come after I stop myself in the morning and say something. Wait a minute, whoa. What do you mean that's not enough? That is enough. Okay, I am the power of plenty. What are you talking about? Then I start going around the house. I am the power of plenty. So you can't just say it one time. The next thing you know, you forgot what that problem you thought you had. Guys, you got to try this stuff. I'm not just saying stuff. The untrained ego manifests as, okay, I gotta tell you something that you don't want to hear, but you just gotta hear. It manifests as sickness, setbacks. Oh, we got this going on here. Oh, no, hurry up and wait. No, it's not gonna happen. Oh, here. No, train your ego. The delays that come about in your life, train your ego. Okay, breaking up with relationships a lot. Not just girlfriend, boyfriend thing, just people in you. Train your ego, because it's something you're believing that's not working for you. And how about the good old thing where you just beat yourself up? You put your boxing gloves on and just do that. That is ridiculous. It's because the ego fears change, and every time you get ready to do something, rather than make up affirmations to go through it, you believe the fear narrative. That's why my talk is about affirmations versus the fear narrative, because the affirmations train the ego to see more possibilities. See, I started my spiritual journey 30 or 40 years ago, but I was in my 20s and 30s when I remember having so much crazy stuff. I thought the truth back then, before I even thought about all this, I thought it was what I knew already and what I saw and what I was familiar with. But the truth is, I hadn't been anywhere but New York back then. I didn't even get a chance to experience all the things I've experienced over the last beautiful set of years I just lived, and how many more years I'm going. I just didn't know any different back then. But the problem was, I realized I had so many paradigms, patterns, and structures in my systems, and I allowed all the conditioning to play it out. And that's where the ego got accustomed to. It got accustomed to complaining. It got accustomed to blaming other people for my problems. Yeah? And once it did that, those structures need to be changed. I cannot allow myself to stay accustomed to that. So my paradigm was set on being critical, especially of myself, also worrying, and also being angry, and how about suspicious, amongst other things. I didn't believe hardly anything that anybody was telling me that was right. Well, I'm glad. Because that did work for me very well. Okay? But anyway, as time went on, I learned how to change those patterns and those structures and how I did it with affirmations. At first, it seemed like, I don't believe that, because that was the ego that didn't want to believe it. It doesn't like change. It wants me to stay. And I wanted to stay because I didn't know that. And I knew it was a lot of work to go over here and do it. Yeah, I remember. Because at first I was going, I got to do that. Oh, yeah. Eventually, I just went through the countless classes to change the fear narrative that I had running in my mind for all the years that I was living back until that time. But one of the things that I'm grateful for is that I went through the process of all those challenges that Horace was talking about in the reading. I gave classes to try. I even started teaching people what I was learning because that's what helped me to really get it in. I really love where my life is today. So as I learned how to train my ego, it took a back seat to my relationship with my oneness with spirit. But not only did it do that, it now walks with me and my oneness with spirit. That's because I had begun spending more time in spiritual practices to relax the ego. So that paradigm of being critical, worried, and angry, and all those other things started being put to rest. Now, I'm realizing that all those affirmations all along, and you must trust me on this one, there are intentional signals that we send to the mind to remind the mind of its freedom. I don't have to listen to that stuff. I don't have to read those things in Facebook. When I see stuff, when I go on Facebook to do certain things, I see them talking about what he did and what I could care less, because that is the fear narrative. That is the distraction that's going to keep you and your ego in victimhood. The fear narrative is the collection echo, I call it. The collective echo. And that's like media, like I said, and your culture. Everybody has a culture that they come from, and some of that stuff can get you clogged in. But you're the one that's responsible for moving you out of that, because you have allowed it to condition you and distract your mind for transformations. So affirmations, remember, they are intentional language that reprograms the mind, and it brings you back to your creative nature. And talk about creative nature. 2 days ago, I was sitting here thinking, not really thinking, but I was almost going into a stinking thinking thing. And then all of a sudden I said, again, where are you going with that? And then I forgot it again. Then all of a sudden a thought came through me. Boom. You know what you need to do? You need to create. Here I go. I'm going to my creative mind. You need to now create this thing called well balance. Oh, this is going to be a seller. This well balance that I'm getting ready to teach people, give them handouts, and also show them how that body needs to balance. It's going to be a change. I mean, wow, it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people, and they love it, and so do I. Because you see, if I keep doing the same old, what happens is change. I realize what's going on at first. Change is going to disrupt the ego's plans, and it's going to go all crazy. And if I don't do anything about it, then I'm going to wind up sitting there going, wow, I missed that opportunity. Oh, that possibility could have been here. But what I did, as soon as I got that idea, I sent it to 2 companies so they can have me ready. Nobody came up with that idea. And I didn't make up all the stuff yet, but I sold it to them in an email, and both companies said, love it. Every day we are spoken to by 2 voices. The one we inherited, all the culture and all that stuff, and the one we choose. You're a choice. Choose one. Your life is not determined by what happens to you. It's determined by how you respond to what happens to you. If you respond in a way that, ouch, and you back off, what happens? Think about it. Do you see yourself transforming the way you want to? See, our personalities plus a trained ego is something that profoundly influences the possibilities that we choose to pursue. Oh, that looks like a good possibility. So as soon as I got that possibility, I gave it to them immediately, rather than don't do anything with that yet. Because why would I do that nowadays? There was a time I would say, well, you got it. Nope, give it to them. Let them respond to me. And matter of fact, one person responded to me before I could even get through the day. Get out of this house, as a matter of fact, that morning. So remember, if you got an idea, put it out there. Give it to somebody so they can pay you for it. Ah, come on. The fear narrative is the brain survival. That's what it is. It's like, oh, okay, everything is okay. I'm all right. You're not all right with nothing, right? So survival wiring is amplified. Survival wiring is amplified. You heard me, by the world that we live in. But we have another world that we live in, and that is that oneness with spirit, the one that transforms us, the one that evolves us. Let me tell you something. The narrative, the fear narrative, is repetitive, it's loud, but above all, it's this familiar thing. Hey, I've been drinking this type of milk forever, so I'm going to drink it. No, well, the minute my thing says you're going to have to change this, because let's see what happens if you change eating this, because whatever. If you don't realize that that's louder than the oneness with spirit, then you start to take, I'm okay with this. The fear narrative narrows your perception of life. It also keeps you looping the same stories over and over. The same stories. You know what a loop looks like. Let's say, for example, you're watching the same video over and over, and it never stops. The same stuff. It starts right from that beginning again until you shut it off. Pause that sucker, because it's time out for it. Affirmations interrupt the automatic thought loops that go around, that we get going on. They create new, hear my word, new neural, because you got to understand that neural energy that you have inside of you needs to be changed through affirmation. Let them, and your nervous system is neural too. So let them stop those thought loops so you can start getting some new ideas into you. They shift the attention from that survival mentality. Oh, this is what I got every day. Okay. Right? They remind us of our freedom. Oh, no, I'm at choice. I don't need to do that. The fear narrative is nothing but an old script that you still have about a certain situation or a certain part of your life. But guess what? Consider that as written in pencil. Your fear narrative, your old script, that echo from all of the years from everything, put it in pencil. Everything that you hear from the world, or you hear about the news, or you hear that, write that stuff in pencil. And then you have the opportunity to erase what the world taught you and rewrite. Affirmations are a pen. Let's make operations. Let's make affirmations a pen that we pick up so we can write another chapter. I don't like this chapter anymore. Let's change it. All right? But here's what happens if you don't pick up that pen and you keep letting the pencil go through. That's the fear. And it shrinks that room inside of you. And affirmations opens the windows. Think about that. The ego takes credit for why things are the way they are. Because you ever hear yourself go, I know why I didn't make that. Because hold up, wait a minute. Did you hear that? I used to do that. I used to say, oh, I know why I'm not getting it. That's the ego taking credit for why things are not the way I want them to be in my life. That's where you get your victimhood from if you just have that survival mentality and just, yeah, I know I can't have it. Oh. So I'm going to give you a simple embodied practice when it comes to the fear narrative. So the minute you hear it, my thing is this, you figure yours out. But my thing is, where you going with that? Because I can tell you in a minute, Rosedale, where you going with this is certainly ain't going the way you want it to go. So this is what I want to tell you. Notice the fear narrative every day. If you ain't where you want to be, you should be listening to me. Because I'm telling you, this stuff is working in my life. Anyway, after you figure out the fear narrative, name it. Now take a pause and breathe. Listen to me. I'm saying this again because you're not coming to the consciousness meeting the way you should. But listen to me. Find it, the fear narrative, name it, take a breath. Now, replace it with the affirmation that's going to sound good for you, to make you feel that it's true enough for you to step into, for you to embody. For example, the fear narrative can say something like, oh, I cannot do this today. The affirmation can say, listen, I am resourceful and I am guided right in this moment. I'm guided. Be in my oneness and my spirit. The fear narrative is loud, but it's not the author of your life, of your affirmations. Affirmations are how we reclaim the pen. Pick that pen up. So in your affirmative language, here's what you do. Write things like, it's time for me to shift gears. Even if it's something like that. In other words, your pen creates a new chapter. Because remember, the blank, in 10 minutes from now, the sheet is blank. Right now, you can be writing the next chapter for the paradigm shift. Here's the thing. We will always have the ego with us. So why not navigate it by using affirmations? Teach it all the possibilities you can think of. Wow, that would be nice if I did it. In other words, let your oneness with spirit take the wheel and let your ego come on with you and leave it in the back seat until I say she, until she decides, all right, I'm coming along with you because you're all right. You're not going to hurt us. Because the ego going to make sure I don't hurt us. See, I practice and study to learn how to navigate the fear narrative with my affirmations. That's a big, big thing. So it's all about affirming your self-worth. And the main thing I taught my ego when I started learning was my self-worth. And she starts going, okay. And that's great because now she's happy because she sees that, wow, you got that. Wow, they paid you. Wow, they gave you this. Wow, you got that. That trained ego is starting to see that those affirmations that I've given to her to quiet the fear narrative, she sees that. So she starts agreeing with me. She don't give me those distractions anymore. Like, well, I don't know if you can do that. She tries every now and then, but immediately my oneness with spirit catches her and brings her along. We don't treat her bad because she's not separate from me. She's the big part of me. All she needs is reassurance. That's not going to make you lose. You're going to win. Trust me. And my ego is trained to listen to me, and she's trained to learn because I will, even if I don't feel like doing the work, that's her saying, I don't feel like getting over there to go get that. I will get up and go get it. Go get to the computer and go write what you just said. Because I will say, I'll write it later. I've done that. That doesn't work for me. So she listens to those endless possibilities that's running through me, and she says nothing in fear, nothing. So she's a lot quieter in me now. She used to be loud. But affirmations became the way for my ego to navigate the fear narrative, because she stopped doing that. So my oneness with spirit and my ego now work together. And guess what? Instead of my ego working against me, doesn't happen anymore. Once my ego feels reassured, she no longer feels the need to give me these distracting thoughts from the fear narrative. You get what I'm saying now? The difference between affirmations versus the fear narrative? She and I walk together now as one with my oneness with spirit. Earlier I said affirmations are the pen we pick up. It's the pen. I make up anything I can to make me understand what I'm doing. You can do it too. So I say to myself, pick up the pen because it's time to write a new chapter. And this song that we're about to talk about is real nice too. It's going to come right in here. What you see in your life today is only part of your reality. But everything beyond this moment is still unwritten. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about a song. And I love the song. See, that means 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, a day from now, a new page is opened and waiting for me to write on that blank sheet. It's mine to shape. It's mine to write on. Affirmations are what I choose to put in my pen. It's the ink I use in my pen. You gotta make stuff up. What about you? So if the rest is still unwritten for me, what do you think about you? What chapter are you willing to write now for tomorrow? It's time to listen to the song now, guys. Listen to the song Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. You feel the rain on your skin because nobody else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Guys, I did so much writing in my life that I'm always prepared to write more. I even make recordings. I'm glad I always get up now and do it if I heard it. If I hear it, I'm going to write it. You are the writers of your life today. No one can speak the words on your lips better than you. And happiness is an inside job, and you're the only one that can do this. It's just that simple. Today is where your book begins. Are you ready to write the rest of that chapter with me? And you know what? I just want to do a little bit more for that sharing part with you. See, this community lifts and integrates our mind, body, and spirit. You saw with the experience that you can see it all in Alan. He is lit beyond measure. That, oh my God, he felt a new identity. This place really will rock your boat if you are paying attention and become aware. CSL Charlotte is such a safe space for awakening. It's a place to expand, to heal, and to know who you really are. This is not a church. This is a transformation station. And everything we experience here, everything we do, we experience the peace from our practice and just by hearing somebody lift us up. Now, how can you get anything better than that? But see, here's the thing. That word reciprocal, see, the spiritual laws work in reciprocal. There's a law of reciprocity, if I said it right. And here's the deal. If it can pour funds into you, then it will send funds through you to this community and to other places that you want to use. But you got to use that reciprocal, the law of reciprocity. See, your giving is not about you keeping a building running. It's about keeping your own evolution in motion and moving up and up and up. It's about clearing a space for your healing and your possibilities. So this community nourishes you spiritually. And when you support it, you're nourishing the very source that nourishes you. It's just that simple. So that's sacred reciprocity. So you're not given to a place, remember that? So listen, just be happy that you can give to your becoming, because this is the thing I got to ask you. Are you ready to change your route and go towards your becoming in a happy way? Because happiness is an inside job. And I'm going to leave you with that thought. So that's all I can ask and say. So remember, today was about affirmations versus the fear narrative. And once we've chosen the right affirmations, once we've navigated the fear narrative, the ego aligns with our oneness with spirit, and right there lies an emotion. The emotion that carries us the rest of the way, because feeling gets the healing. You have to have that happiness. Happiness is not the kind of happiness you chase. It's the kind we generate. And happiness is an inside job. I could say that 1,000 times, because here's the beautiful part. There's a thing that causes happiness, and it's a smile, because it changes your chemistry once those lips go up on the side. Science tells us that when we smile, we gently allow the brain to shift its chemistry, and all the cells in your body go right with it. The smile is a signal that says we're safe. And that is why I got so good at that smile. Everybody says that you have such a beautiful smile, but it's not because I have a beautiful smile. It's because I love what it does to me. I can't see me when I'm smiling, but I sure can feel me. So when I smile, my affirmations rise to the surface real easily. They become the louder voice than what I was talking about. So smile more often and begin to practice. And don't do it in a pretended way. Do it because you really want to feel what it feels like. Try it. That's how I create affirmations. And that's how I become so creative, through my smile. If I'm in front of a whole bunch of people and I forgot what I was going to say, I smile. And this is what you're getting ready to do in this next song. So listen to the song, I Smile, by Kirk Franklin. Even though I hurt, see, I smile. Oh, oh, that's to you, Groovy. You look so much better when you, oh. Wow. Okay, calm down, y'all. So, smile. Well, now, Mo, I know you're smiling over there. I saw your comment. So, are you ready to pray us out?
Another amazing service here today. So as we close this time out together, I know that each and every one of us carries with us Reverend Rosedale's words of wisdom into this week, that we be fed by the messages that continually come up and form within each and every one of us. So as we close this service out, I know that we are blessed beyond any type of measure, that the rest of our Sundays go smoothly and easily and with a lightness within our heart and within our steps. So I release, I let go, I let God, and I express extreme gratitude for each and every person that is here celebrating this time with us today. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Mo, for bringing each and every one of us into your prayer. So, as we wrap up our time together, start this week with the thought affirmations versus the fear narrative, and choose one. Remember I said that earlier? Practice walking with affirmations in your pocket written already versus the fear narrative, which you don't have. You got nothing to cover yourself with if you can't combat that thought that comes to you while you're driving, taking a walk, about to eat. When you can't do it, start writing that stuff. Make a little treasure chest of affirmations so you can have more affirmations versus the fear narratives. So now you know by now what you need to do, right? We did the little practice. All I can say to you is just do it. So remember though, this is honest truth. The universe is constantly supporting you on your journey. So until we get to meet again, start with the best way to retrain your ego, and that's with affirmations versus the fear narrative. Guys, have a good week, and so it is.